Welcome back. We begin this hour with the spike in gun violence in Toronto that has parts of the city on edge. Mayor John Tory is requesting all levels of government meet to discuss prevention strategies. The shootings came up at today's meeting between Ontario Premier Doug Ford and the Prime Minister.
Expressed to the Premier that the federal government is there to be supportive, to work with them to make sure we're keeping our citizens safe. This is something that matters deeply to all of us, not just in Toronto, but across the country.
So far in 2018, 25 people have died from gun violence in the city. Compare that to this time last year when the death toll from guns was 16. What police call gun occurrences, that's when someone discharges a firearm at another person, are on the rise as well. Back in 2014, there were 177 such occurrences in the entire year. But halfway through 2018, there have already been more than 200 shootings. 10 people have been shot in just the last 5 days. How to combat gun violence in the city is an ongoing discussion. The CBC's Dwight Drummond went right to the source and spoke with Toronto Police Deputy Chief Peter Ewan. Here's part of that discussion.
Deputy Chief, we see what's happening in our city right now. And the fact that some of these shootings and homicides aren't being solved, a lot of people point back to the relationship between the community and the police as far as the service trying to gather intelligence to solve some of these crimes. They're not getting buy-in from the community. And they're saying part of that is because of this animosity that exists. How will this program help to bridge some of that and hopefully help to solve some of these crimes? Because you need people to help.
Dwight, the reason the police exists in Canada is by consent. Consent can come in different shapes or forms. When I was a young police officer, we used to have a lot of, when we see serious crime happening around the city, we used to have a lot of calls coming in because people were agreeable to the police. People loved the police. People liked what we did. Now we're seeing less cooperation. That could be one form of withdrawing the consent. Neighborhood officers, because they're here from day one to build that route, build that connection. So even they will be, I can tell you, not walking around, working with a lot of different neighborhood officers and speaking with them. And when things happen, they get a call and said, I may not want to be a witness, but I can point you in the right direction. I was an immigrant. I experienced some of these issues, some of the residents and some of the kids are feeling today. When I was playing soccer, the officer did not understand we were poor. We could not afford any other sports. But their assumption was there are 20 non-white kids on a soccer field at 9 o'clock at night. They thought we were up to no good. But our officers not gonna do that. They are going to understand there's only one restaurant, fast food outlet in the mall south of here. And I know, because I know from 1987, that's where the kids congregate at nighttime. It's because they have nowhere to go. They're not bad kids. So for the officers to walk in and automatically assume they're criminals, they're up to no good, that mindset we cannot have this mindset in 2018 and moving forward. Trading on gang intervention, exit strategy, how to help these young people exit gangs, how to intervene, how to identify.
So the officers coming in here will have that kind of
all
training
these trainings
before they become a neighborhood officer.
That's right. Conflict management, working with people with disabilities, mental illness. Okay, every training that one of the most important thing is impartial policing, racial bias policing. It's important for them to understand, these things do exist and they're here. And they cannot come into different neighborhoods with different lenses. And I'm going to look at the demographics as well. I'm going to bring officers that may look like the community, may speak the same language, because you have to have that linkage. You have to have that linkage.
That was the CBC's Dwight Drummond speaking with Toronto Police Deputy Chief Peter Ewan.